What's going on, YouTube? Hey, today we got Jeff Whoopi Goldberg Glass. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where the Goldberg came from, but with the Alpha Media Global and Meditech Web Solutions. If you own a junk removal business and you're not in my area, then you should hit up Jeff and the team over there at Meditech and Alpha Media Global. But thanks for coming on, brother.
Thank you. Whoopi and I, she might be a long lost aunt, but I definitely got the paler side of the complexion for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. So good to be on with you, Gary. Good to see you again.
Yeah, man. So what we do is we talk about crazy stories. Evidently you got three involving tweakers or crackheads. We've all seen them living in wherever you live at. But let's get right into it. Meat and potatoes, baby. Give it to us.
Specifically white tweakers. I don't want to sound stereotypical,
but
I'm not a huge fan of the tweaker genre or niche, if you will, whatever their stipulation is. But where I'm from, and a while back ago, I lived in California, and I was living in Placerville, California. And this is before I had any interest in getting into junk removal, because I've owned junk removal companies, two of them, in fact, and I will get into that shortly. But I just bought my first house. I was 24, 25 years old, somewhere around there. And in the middle of the night, I hear people roofing. I mean, I'm talking 2, 3 in the morning. My neighbors are roofing their house. And I hear it, I'm just like, what is going on? After a while, it just kind of put me to sleep. I've lived next to the train before. I've lived next to airports when I was, in school and going to college. I've lived next to loud noises. So to me, it just kind of put me to sleep. So I got used to falling asleep to hearing guys doing roofing at 2, 3 in the morning without fail. They were out there roofing whatever they were roofing. So I was sitting in my backyard. We had a shared fence, and I guess they were having a fight with like lug nuts or screws or something. They're throwing them at each other.
Awesome.
And one comes over and hits me in the foot. So I'm not happy, but I'm not too mad. I usually keep my cool. So I walk over there. I'm holding this big old, piece of metal. And I say, hey, who threw this? And they're hiding behind the cars. I'm like, I can see your feet. Like, what are you doing?
It's like you're looking for your kids when you get home from
yeah.
Like, oh,
It's a couple of grown men like squatting, hiding behind the cars. I'm like, what are you doing? I know it was you. I'm not going to throw it back at you. I'm not a tweaker. I'm not having fights with lug nuts and screws, but can you guys please, if you're going to throw them, just throw them the other direction. Go have your fight on the other side of your property where you don't have a shared fence. So, in California, and I'm sure all over, is you run into these types of folks. And I ran into them again when I had started a junk removal business. My background is I was a behavioral therapist. I'm a teacher. I've taught entrepreneurship for years. We can get into that another time. But I ended up selling my business to one of my students. I taught in juvenile probation. Really smart guy, owns the business to this day, but went back and serves now in juvenile probation. So I was building the business to really hand it off to someone from my coursework. And I had no idea how big of a deal junk removal was. I just thought, hey, positively, not a high barrier of entry. Nevada, which I was in at the time, didn't require a contractor's license to get into it. So I said, hey, this is a great thing. I'm teaching kids entrepreneurship, young adults. I'm going to get them started on something, making some money, building their self-esteem, creating a living for themselves, for their families, future families. A lot of more just, single guys, maybe boyfriends or girlfriends. But I went to a job. I'm by myself, and the wife books the job. And I show up, and the guy is real happy that I'm there to take stuff. He's like, okay, can you take this? Can you take that? Can you take this? And some of the stuff was just disgusting. I'm sure you've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Just never happens in junk removal, right?
We get clean stuff all the time. Yeah.
And it was just nasty, some of the stuff I was taking. And this guy just kind of, he had the look, man. And he was kind of, I don't know, he was definitely on something. And he goes, well, I'll help you. I said, okay. I said, I don't have someone here with me today, so it's your stuff. I'll accept the help. Hindsight, insurance wise, not something I'd do moving forward if I was in the industry, but I needed the help. We had to go down a flight of stairs with a mattress and a couch. So as we're loading up, he says to me, he goes, so by the way, who pays you for all this? I said, what do you mean? Who pays me for all this? I booked it with your wife. And he goes, well, like, who cuts you a check? Like, who pays you to come out and do the service? I said, well, you do.
brother.
And right then, my back, I threw out my back, and his back hurts, and he's injured all of a sudden from a standstill to injured.
Yeah.
He's all of a sudden hurting. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And he runs up the stairs, starts whimpering and crying to his wife or his lady friend, and says, I don't believe this. I thought this was free, and this is all my money. This is my stipend from the government. He was just freaking out, right? And I was there to I said, listen, sir, I said, keep your money. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to take care of this for you, and I'm going to go. But the guy had no clue that we were a hired service, which to me was just beyond comprehension, but he wasn't comprehending a whole lot as it was. So that was tweaker story number 2. Tweaker story number 3 was a large clean out in Sparks, Nevada. This sweet family from Washington rented a house to these folks, and the people they rented to, they had passed and asked if their daughter could continue to rent there. Well, the daughter had a lot of male friends and a lot of visitors, and was running a business out of there. Yeah. And there was videos involved, and there was cameras and
just kidding. Don't elaborate. But yeah.
We don't need to elaborate on that. I'm just being real. This was the actual job that I showed up at. Yeah. And so I show up, and it's basically it's a B-rated movie theater closed down. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. So I'm there, and I show up, and the police meet us there because they had to, because it was a lockout. It was an eviction. And this lady and all of her guy friends, like 12 or 13 of them, were surrounding the gate of the house waiting to get their stuff. And the stuff they started asking for was it just blew my mind. So they're like, okay, will you come drop it off at, her person's house down the street? The guy who was running the business that was operating there, he lived down the street. No. So you come drop everything down there. And I was like, ma'am, we can't do that. But the police here has given me 1 hour for you to decide if there's any junk removal items that you want. The homeowners from Washington have agreed to it, so you have 1 hour. And if everybody's not here for it, and of course, tweakers don't show up on time, so they showed up like the 3rd hour, 4th hour. So to backtrack, they were put on notice beforehand that this was all happening, but seemed so surprised.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So she goes, Jeff, I just want one thing. It means so much to me. It's the most valuable thing in the whole house. Will you bring me the toilet? It's brand new. I paid for it. And if you could bring me that toilet and drop it off at my boyfriend's place, I would seriously appreciate it. And I said, ma'am, I'm not bringing you a toilet.
Yeah. And it's attached to the property.
It's attached to the property. Yes. Yeah. It's attached to the property. Supposedly with her own hard-earned money. Yeah. She had a toilet installed. Yeah. And this was it was the most disgusting job I'd ever seen in my life. The way that these people live was just awful. And they hung out there till nighttime. I mean, it was like the tweakers hung out there for like 8-9 hours. They'd come by the next day kind of looking, and everything was a story about what somebody stole from them and should have been there. It's really there. And 4 or 5 of them, it was their house. It was definitely their house. They were from there. They lived there. So that would be, I guess, my junk removal story, my junk removal career, if you will, because I built it. I've been in marketing for a long time. I'm also an investor. So I invested in it. I was only in the junk removal industry for about 15 months. Yep. But the things that I saw at Sparks and Reno, Nevada were just awful.
I could only imagine over there by Vegas. I guess, how far is that from Vegas over there?
Well, it's 8 hours from Vegas, but in Nevada, you have a very few like nice pockets. Yeah. But it's really it's the desert right next to California where people just kind of go to get away. It was a little cheaper at the time. There's a lot of traffic in there. Not all of it's bad. Yeah. But there's some pocket areas that are just not good areas. Gambling is legal there. The business that I was referring to is legal there. Yeah. So that was not the only house that we did a clean out where there was a side business running out of there.
A brothel. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Bunny
Yes, sir.
Ranch, man. The Bunny Ranch number 7 or whatever that was.
Well, that would have been upscale from what we got to experience.
The Jackrabbit Ranch, you know.
Yeah, it was something quite interesting. So
that's awesome. We haven't ran into anything like that, like the well, that I know of, because you never know, because if it's something like that and there's nobody there, there's nobody to tell the story. But once you start digging through stuff, you're kind of like putting the story together, and you're like, dude, this is not good. Whatever we're doing right now, this is not good. But that's the fun part about the business, though.
And now that I work on the other side, I work with probably, gosh, in a given year, at least about 50 to 60 different junk removers.
Yep.
Really love working and serving in this industry. I like being on this side a lot. I like to help and serve on the marketing side, but for somehow the junk removers like to send me pictures of toys that they found on the job all the time. It doesn't matter if they're 20 or they're 50. They're like, Jeff, look what I found. I'm like, seriously? Like, John, I'm sitting here with my kid.
You met John. Yeah. You met John. So John would be that guy. John would 100%. And he would send you those things, and he'd be like, there's some crazy stuff. But anyways, hey man, we got to wrap it up. But Jeff, I appreciate you popping on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, if you want to give any shout outs, man, go ahead right now with Meditech Web Solutions and Alpha Media Global. Go ahead, man. The floor is yours, dude.
Sure. I mean, we are only successful as our clients are, and our business has really grown over the past few years and explosively over the past, I would say 9-10 months. But we specialize in search engine optimization, SEO, web development. We not only hire web designers, we actually hire web developers, engineers, folks that are really great. I'm only as good as my team, and we are only as great as our clients. So anything that's web-based, tech support, anything that's about your presence online are things that we serve and specialize in. So you can find us at alphamedia.global. Meditech Web Solutions is our tech company that is, I would say, the senior business to all of it. So you might hear that name out in the public forums, Meditech Web Solutions. I work a lot with a good gentleman by the name of Matthew Moses, who owns Young Spider, and another gentleman, Lewis, that he owns a company that also does he does web design and SEO. So for me, I have a friendly approach. I believe in working with other people that are in the industry so we can bring the best possible solutions to the people that need us. And so I'm more of the accord that how can we continue to make it better for our clients that are out there. So if you need to find us, you can find us in just about all over Facebook, I guess. And I don't know, where'd you find me, Gary? You said in that meme.
One of the Facebook groups. Yeah.
That's right.
But then Joseph Martinez, and I actually was like, I called bullshit. And I was like, yeah, right. And then Joseph Martinez popped on there and like personally commented. And I go, okay, well, Joseph. And I'm like, oh, listen. And then we started talking and stuff. And here we are, man. But yeah, Google My Business, and the thing about you guys is that, that I like is that you guys are teachers, and we got to wrap this thing up. We're about to run over time, but you guys are teachers, and I have learned a stupid amount about SEO and Google My Business. And Google My Business is not just posting a picture or it's not that. There's so much to it, but there's not. But it is a little difficult if you don't understand that kind of stuff. But man, hop on with these fellas here, man, and you guys are going to be good to go. But you got to close the phone call. So they can get you the phone call. You just got to put them on the schedule. So, Jeff, appreciate you coming on, man. And we'll talk to you in a short time. And peace.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.